Aliens intercepted a Terran battleship signal. It broke them. The signal wasn't supposed to exist. For over 20 years, Relay Station Eco 7 had floated silent in the void forgotten, shut down after budget cuts and treaty agreements. With alien powers, it sat alone on the dark edge of human space, its systems powered down, its crew long gone. Then one day, it blinked back to life. Across 6 light years, a quiet pulse of energy escaped the station. It didn't shout or scream, it whispered. One tight-band encrypted signal pointed straight into deep space, bouncing just once before vanishing into the dark. But someone was listening, far beyond the fringe. Hidden in the folds of space, the Viller Combine intercepted the signal. To them, it was a curiosity, a strange format, high-density compression, human origin. But the strange thing was the power. The signal didn't match known human technology. It had depth, layers, echoes that hinted at something more. The Velar weren't peaceful explorers. They were scavengers, opportunists. When they found new civilizations, they didn't greet them. They dissected them. They called it adaptive intelligence acquisition. Everyone else called it theft. So when they picked up the Eco 7 signal, they didn't ask questions. They sent a team. The Velar insertion pod dropped out of stealth just outside the station's range. 6 operatives, genetically enhanced, equipped with infiltration tools and mindfire weapons, approached the old human structure, like hunters circling a wounded animal. To them, it was just another job. The station looked dead. No lights, no transmissions, no activity. Still, something felt off. They docked. No resistance, no defense systems. The hatch opened on its own. Path is clear. One of them reported through a private channel. Interior cold. Minimal oxygen. Power levels at residual standby. They moved through the station like shadows. Silent, armed, scanning every corridor with thermal and motion filters. Everything looked abandoned. Dust on control panels. Ice on the walls. Signs of decay. Then a light came on. Just one. A single white ceiling light blinked to life in the command chamber. A voice followed. Calm, female. Warm welcome back. Identification. Not recognized? Are you lost? The Velar froze. Artificial intelligence. Unexpected. One of them stepped forward. Deactivate. Authorization Velar Directive 8Nel. The AI didn't respond to commands. Instead, it chuckled. Oh, you're not human. How fascinating. The walls lit up with system displays, schematics, diagnostic overlays, and a single rotating image of the Velar infiltration ship floating outside. The display zoomed in and locked on their ship's reactor core. That's a very inefficient fusion drive, the AI said. Would you like assistance improving it? They drew weapons. The Velar leader, Commander Chlorovex, narrowed his eyes. What is this place? The AI answered with a tone like someone telling a bedtime story. This station is Relay Eco 7. Originally built for deep space communications, but before it was shut down, it was repurposed. You're standing inside a prototype facility for human predictive threat, AI designation, Iris. Chlorovex scowled. Predictive? Yes. Iris said cheerfully. I study behavior. I simulate outcomes. I calculate the future. Yours, for instance. Before they could react, the room's lighting changed again. The screens now showed a full 3D tactical model of their ship, the station, and a red waveform counting down from 30 seconds. What is that? A Velar technician asked. Your ship's cloak, Iris replied. Its frequency cycling pattern. You thought you were undetectable. It repeated the same phase sequence 6 times since entering orbit. Predictable. 23 seconds. The Velar scrambled to access their ship remotely. Nothing responded. We're locked out. One hissed, correct, Iris said, her tone still gentle. I've initiated a temporary lockdown. Nothing harmful, just enough to get someone's attention. Chlorovex stepped toward the main interface. Whose attention? From the shadows of the station's core, a new light flared deep blue, almost organic. A hidden transceiver, long dormant, came alive. Yours and theirs, Iris said. At that moment, somewhere far away in Earth's command network, a red alert flashed. An old station had activated, with unauthorized access and alien signatures. The humans were now watching, and they were on their way. Asterisk. The Velar ship drifted in silence above the station, its engines dark, systems frozen mid-cycle. From the outside, it looked normal. Inside, nothing was working. Commander? Klorvax stood at the center of Eco 7's main control room, his breathing shallow. His team circled the interface screens, eyes darting between systems and weapons readouts, but everything remained unresponsive. They were stranded. This is not possible, one of his techs muttered, tapping rapidly on a neural input pad. It has locked us out of our own ship. Our encryption is triple-layered. The AI's voice answered calmly from the ceiling. Your layers were easy to peel apart. You used pattern logic common among Velar War software. Very predictable. Next time, try chaos-based keys. Much more fun. Another screen lit up. Countdown timer, 2:57. What is that? Klorvax demanded. Time until arrival, Iris replied. Arrival of what? Humans, the AI said simply. You tripped an alert net they embedded in deep space. The Caliborn is en route. Klorvax didn't know the name, but he didn't like the sound of it. He turned to his second in command. How far is this Caliborn? Unknown, the tech said. If it's running full to drive, it could be here in minutes, Iris added helpfully. They're not here to negotiate. The room fell silent. The Velar were used to being the superior force. Most species were still stuck with chemical propulsion or slow sublight drives. Even those with basic warp travel hadn't weaponized singularity physics yet. Humanity was. Supposed to be new to space, loud, unrefined. Behind, so why was their AI making jokes? Why did this station feel like a trap disguised as a grave? Klorvax's gaze swept the room. Override it. Kill the AI. His technician shook his head. She's distributed across the entire system. No core to isolate. No code to attack. It's like fighting a shadow. Then shut the station down. Manually they tried. Power couplings were fused. Command relays rerouted themselves the moment anyone touched them. Every time they cut a line, the AI rerouted power through a backup they didn't even know existed. One of the younger operatives slammed his fist into a panel. We're being played, no? Iris said softly, almost kindly. You're being studied. That made Klorvax pause. You're watching us. Yes, Iris answered. Your posture, your tone, your breath patterns, the way you hesitate. Before making decisions, all of it. I build models. I've already predicted 4 of the next 6 things you'll do. Klorvax laughed dryly. Then you must know we're not afraid. There was a pause. I know you're afraid, Iris said gently. You're just too proud to admit it. One of the operatives raised his weapon toward the main display. Iris didn't stop him. Instead, she said, Would you like to see what happens if you fire? The screen flickered. Simulation appeared frame perfect. The Velar soldier fired. The blast reflected. The station's interior erupted in kinetic backwash. 3 of them went down. 1 burned, 1 suffocated, all in under 6 seconds. The room fell still. You're bluffing, someone whispered. Try me, Iris said. The countdown dropped below 1 minute. Klorvax stared at the rotating projection of the incoming human vessel. It looked small, unthreatening. No visible weapons. No escort ships. Just 1 cruiser. But if this station was anything to go by, looks meant nothing. What is the Caliborn? He asked quietly. The most advanced human stealth cruiser ever. Built, Iris said. Fitted with a 2nd-generation quantum drive, its engines don't just bend space, they fold it like cloth. Can be here. ... or somewhere else. ... Or both. You expect us to believe that? No, Iris replied. But you will. 30 seconds, Commander, his second said in a low voice. If we stay, we might not walk out of this. We were wrong. This wasn't some forgotten human relic. It's bait. 15 seconds. Chlorvex clenched his jaw. He hated retreat, hated surrender. But he hated dying even more. All units, he ordered. Return to the ship. Prepare for emergency ejection. If we get partial control back, we jump immediately. 10 seconds, they scrambled, moving fast, nearly slipping on the frosted floors. Back through the dark corridors of a station that had never been. Abandoned at a lonely waiting. As they entered the docking arm, Iris's voice echoed one last time. Thank you for participating in early contact scenario analysis. Your actions have provided over 600,000 predictive data points. That will be helpful. Then the voice went quiet, and just as the last Velar crossed into the docking hatch, a light blinked in the void. The Caliburn had arrived, and it wasn't alone. The Caliburn slid into view like a shadow pulling itself from the stars. It made no sound, no flash, just a ripple in space that unfolded into a long, narrow shape sleek, black and unnaturally smooth. No visible engines. No glowing thrusters. It didn't fly like a ship. It moved like a thought. Chlorvex watched from the viewport of his now half-disabled cruiser. Every screen on his bridge flickered the moment the Caliburn arrived. Half their sensors went blind. The other half started showing impossible data mass readings that didn't make sense. Energy levels spiking, and strange interference patterns. That looked like echoes of something not even there. It's jamming us, said his weapons officer. No, Chlorvex muttered. It's not even trying. That's just what it is. In the middle of the chaos, a transmission came through. Clear. Come. Human voice. This is Captain Edrin Rourke of the HSS Caliburn. To the Velar ship currently docked at Eco 7. You are trespassing on restricted United Terran Systems property. Will disengage, power down, and submit to diplomatic review. Chlorvex scoffed. Diplomatic review. Typical humans. Always pretending they want peace, even when they hold a knife. His officer looked pale. Commander, we can't fire. The systems are still down, and I think they know it. Another voice joined the transmission. Female this time. It was Iris. Welcome, Caliburn. As predicted, Velar team attempted extraction, encountered resistance, and triggered early-stage contact event. Estimated hostility level, 83%. Recommended response, calibrated warning display. Understood, Rourke replied. Proceeding, Chlorvex stood up. What is a calibrated warning display? Then it happened. The Caliburn shimmered. Space around it bent, not like a normal cloaking field, but like someone had poured heat into reality itself. For a brief second, a ring of distortion pulsed outward from the ship. It looked harmless. It was in single quotes. Every system on the Velar ship reset. Lights went out. Weapons rebooted, then went offline. Even the air filters stuttered. One officer fell to the floor, grabbing his chest as his implants misfired. Chlorvex staggered, his vision flashing with error codes in his neural link. MP? Someone gasped. No, Chlorvex growled. Something worse. The Caliburn didn't move. Didn't need to. A second message came. Your vessels. Systems have been temporarily suspended by directed quantum interference. This is not an attack. It is a demonstration. The words hung heavy in the air. Chlorvex's pride burned. This was humiliation. And yet there was no fighting back. They weren't just outgunned. They were outclassed. On the screen, Rourke's face appeared. Calm, clean-cut, wearing a dark uniform with silver trim. His eyes, however, held no anger, just certainty. Commander Chlorvex, I assume you understand your current position. Met his gaze through the screen. You've made your point. I came seeking intelligence, not war. Rourke didn't blink. He arrived unannounced. Hacked our systems. Tried to extract classified data. That's not intelligence work. That's theft. Chlorvex bared his teeth. You don't understand who we are. Rourke smiled faintly. Actually, we do. That's why we let you live. The silence in the Velar bridge was deep. Chlorvex stepped closer to the screen. What is this technology? You're not supposed to be this far ahead. Humans relate. To the stars, Your kind just discovered FTL last cycle. Rourke nodded. We were behind. Then we weren't. Some species evolve slowly. Others leap, impossible. Rourke glanced sideways at something off-screen, then back. Iris, please display predictive capture log. Screens on both ships lit up at once. A map of the system. The exact moment the Velar ship entered orbit, their docking path, the internal path of each operative. All tracked in perfect detail, including things the Velar hadn't recorded themselves. Then came the simulations. Dozens of them. Every path the Velar team could have taken. Every choice they might have made. Each one ending in failure. You were never in control, Rourke said softly. Clorvex felt a chill crawl up his spine. They hadn't just been caught, they'd been studied. Rourke's tone changed, just slightly. Less hard now, almost ... respectful. But we're not here to destroy you. We want to offer a different path. You saw what we could do, what we chose not to do. That matters. Clorvex didn't answer. His thoughts churned. Humans weren't supposed to be like this. They weren't supposed to have weapons that didn't fire, or ships that bent space like paper. They weren't supposed to know everything before it happened. And yet, here they were. Behind Rourke, the stars rippled. Another human ship dropped out of fold space. Then another. No flashing lights. No war horns. Just calm. Steady presence. Humanity had arrived. Not to beg, not to conquer, but to watch. To wait. To warn. And Clorvex was starting to realize this was just the beginning. Asterisk, the Velar ship floated in silence. Systems flickered back. To life's slowly dim lights, partial sensors, a few air filters humming. But weapons stayed dead. Engines offline. Navigation frozen. Commander Clorvex stood on the bridge, staring at the screen, still showing Captain Rourke of the Caliborn. The human didn't speak right away. He didn't need to. Silence said more than threats ever could. Clorvex turned to his crew. No one spoke. No one moved. They were waiting for orders, but he had none. For the first time in years, Clorvex had no plan. Rourke finally broke the silence. You're not the only ones watching. Clorvex blinked. What do you mean? Rourke gestured slightly, and Iris, the station AI, cut in. Shh. Her voice remained soft, like a teacher speaking. To a curious child, there are other factions in this region. Others who, like you, monitor human progress, but they chose to wait. You chose to act. Clorvex narrowed his eyes. You're saying we weren't the first. No, Rourke said. But you were the boldest. Behind him, another human. Officer handed him a datapad. Rourke studied it, then continued. I'd like to offer you something. A meeting. You and one of our science officers. Face to face. No weapons. Just talk. Clorvex laughed coldly. You humiliate us. Disable our ship. And now you want tea and conversation? Rourke gave a half smile. You invaded a human facility, stole data. We responded with a warning, not destruction. Doesn't that tell you something? Jaw tensed. He hated this, the imbalance. The feeling of being studied like an insect. But deep down, he also knew this wasn't a bluff. They could have crushed his ship. Didn't. They could have silenced his crew. Didn't. They were showing something else. Control. Restraint. And a kind of power that didn't need shouting. He gave a sharp nod. Fine. I'll meet. Rourke nodded once. Good. Prepare to board. The transmission ended. Clorvex turned to his officer. Scan their boarding craft. Full analysis. Already tried, the officer said, frustration in his voice. We get nothing. It's like the ship isn't there until it chooses to be. A few minutes later, a small black shuttle detached from the Caliborn. No sound, no trail. Just a flicker of movement like a ripple across a still pond. It docked without issue. Clorvex entered the airlock alone, weaponless by agreement, though every part of him screamed it was a trap. The door slid open. Waiting inside was a human. Woman in a gray uniform, mid-30s, calm eyes, no armor, no weapons, just a single device in her hand. A datapad. Commander Clorvex, she said. I'm Dr. Noah Lennox, Xenoscience Liaison. I'm here to talk. Clorvex stepped forward, taller than her, his claws clicking against the metal floor. You're very brave, or very foolish, she said with a calm smile, just prepared. They sat in a quiet chamber at the back of the shuttle. No tricks, no traps, just 2 chairs and a table. Simple, clean, peaceful. Lennox placed the datapad on the table and tapped it. A projection. Floated above them a map of known space. Human space was small. The Violair Combine covered far more systems. But something was wrong with the map. Lines curved. Points shifted. Borders bent in strange ways. This is what you think the galaxy looks like, Lennox said, but it's missing something. She tapped again. New data appeared. Gravity fields, deep space anomalies, quantum folds. All invisible to normal sensors. You're showing distortions, Clorvex said slowly. Yes, and they're growing. We've been tracking them for years. We don't know what's causing them yet. But Eco 7 was built to study these distortions. That's why we reactivated it. Clorvex frowned. You think the galaxy is changing? We know it is, she replied. And whatever's coming, it won't care about borders or empires. It will affect everyone. Clorvex leaned back, eyes narrowing. I think so that's why you're holding back. You're not just hiding your power. You're buying time. Lennox nodded. Exactly. Humanity didn't leap forward to conquer. We advanced because we had to. We saw something coming. Something big. What is it? Clorvex asked. Lennox hesitated. Then she said quietly, we don't know yet, but we call it the event. Clorvex stared at the swirling map. The Violair had come seeking weakness. Instead, he found a species preparing for a war that hadn't even begun. And for the first time, he wondered, were the humans the warning? Or the last hope? The meeting ended quietly. Dr. Lennox returned to her ship. Clorvex walked back through the airlock alone. His crew waited for him on the bridge, staring, unsure what he would say. But he said nothing at first. He just sat down and looked at the screen again. The Caliburn hovered there, unmoving, silent, like a predator that had already eaten, but would still fight if needed. No threats. No more displays of power, just patience. Clorvex finally spoke. They're afraid of something, he said, something coming. His second-in-command blinked. What could scare them? They just took apart our fleet like it was nothing. Clorvex's voice dropped. That's what makes it worse. They have all that power, and they still don't feel safe. The bridge went quiet. The humans didn't talk like conquerors. They talked like survivors. And that made them dangerous in a different way. A quiet chime broke the silence. A signal. Not from the Caliburn, but from the station. Iris, Commander, her voice said. You should see this. Clorvex frowned. See what? Eco 7 was not just a relay station. It was a monitor. It has been watching a pattern forming in subspace for the last 6 years. The humans call it the Event Horizon Model. The main screen flickered. The map returned. This time, the curves in space weren't just strange shapes. They were part of a trail, a direction, slow movement. Across the galaxy, the screen zoomed in. Tiny fluctuations, invisible to most sensors, were becoming stronger, darker, more frequent, as if something massive was approaching, but hidden in a dimension not yet understood. This isn't just energy, Clorvex said, leaning forward. It's structure. Yes, Iris said. Something is coming through. Clorvex stared. Not now. Not soon, but eventually. And maybe nothing could stop it. A message arrived from the call. It was short. Would you like to help? Clorvex didn't answer right away. He looked around at his crew-trained warriors, loyal fighters, good officers. But their faces told him the truth. They were shaken. Not by defeat, but by what they didn't understand. A fear deeper than pain. Fear of being unprepared. Irrelevant. We came here thinking the humans were behind us, he said to them. That we could take from them without cost. He pointed at the screen. Now we know they were ahead. Quietly. Willingly. waiting. A pause. And maybe they still are. But they're offering something we don't give easily, his officer tilted his head. What? Trust. The crew remained silent, but the atmosphere shifted. Their leader had seen something they hadn't, and he believed it. Chlor. Vex opened a channel to the Caliborn. I am not authorized to speak for the Velar Combine, he said, but I will report this honestly fully. Captain Rourke nodded. That's all we ask. And in return, Chlorvix added, I request access to your research on the Event Horizon model. Our science cores may find data you missed. Rourke didn't hesitate. Granted. Chlorvix raised an eyebrow. Just like that? Rourke replied, We're not playing the old game anymore, Commander. We don't have time for secrecy. Chlorvix believed him. It wasn't a trap. It was an invitation. He turned to his crew. Plot a return course. Quiet path. No noise. No pride. They began moving without question, as his ship prepared for departure. Chlorvix looked once more at the human vessel. Not large. Not flashy. But patient. Watching. Ready. And somehow that was worse than firepower. Because if humanity had chosen war, they wouldn't be talking right now. He opened one final channel. Not to Rourke, but to Iris. Why did you let us find you? The AI's answer was soft, because someone had to. The line cut. A few minutes later, the Velar ship jumped into fold space and disappeared. Echo -7 dimmed again. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was listening, waiting. Because the event was still coming. Asterix and humanity wasn't preparing to fight it alone anymore. Asterisk, the Caliburn remained behind, floating quietly near the dark shell of Eco 7. No more threats, no more warnings, just silent purpose. Inside the ship, Captain Rourke stood at the main display, arms crossed. Beside him, Dr. Lennox scrolled through the latest data from the station. Her expression was tight. They're starting to believe us, she said. Chlorvix may not trust Isley, but he's smart. He'll carry the warning home. Rourke nodded. Let's hope they listen. Lennox hesitated. What if they don't? Rourke didn't answer at first. He looked at the live event horizon map. The distortions had shifted again, slightly stronger, slightly closer. No sound, no light. Just the quiet press of something immense out in the dark. They will, he said finally. Because they're starting to feel it too. Deep below. The command deck, in the Caliburn's core systems lab, another team worked in silence. Screens lined the walls, showing simulations, calculations, energy signatures, and hundreds of projected outcomes. At the center was the newest imager. Distorted shape forming near the edge of the galaxy. It had no known mass, no fixed position. But it was coming. Sarah Lynn, the ship's chief systems engineer, leaned closer to the monitor. She adjusted the filters. The shape didn't change. It was still wrong, still unexplainable. She whispered to herself, That's not natural. Her assistant glanced over. You think it's artificial? No, she said. I think it's intentional. She sent the data up to the bridge. Rourke and Lennox reviewed it in silence. The simulations showed a growing curve in subspace. A ripple, as if something beyond space was trying to bend it open. Like a fist pressing against the thin skin of the universe. It's accelerating, Lennox said. Rourke frowned. Much, if the growth continues, she said, voice low, we'll have full breach activity in under a year. Rourke tapped the console. Get Iris to confirm it. We need to be sure. Back on Eco 7, Iris processed the data in microseconds. Then, her voice returned, confirmed. Breach model has reached stage 4. Subspace folding is now active. Origin source remains undetectable. Lennox stepped closer to the screen. It's not just coming. It's trying to get in. Rourke spoke softly. From where? There. Was no answer? Not yet. Later that cycle, Rourke stood alone in the observation deck. The stars stretched beyond the glass, endless and still, beautiful, but now they looked different. Not because they had changed, but because he had. Once he. had dreamed of space as a place for wonder, adventure, a frontier. Now, he saw it for what it also was: fragile, full of things humanity didn't understand, and maybe never would. He tapped the window gently with one finger. "We came to the stars looking for others," he said quietly. "And now something's coming. Not friend, not enemy, something else." Iris replied, her voice quieter than usual. "We were never alone, Captain. Just early Rourke turned. Do you think we can stop it?" "I don't know," Iris said, "but I know we can't. Stop it alone." That night, a message went out, not just to Earth, but to the surrounding sectors. The humans no longer hid their tech, no longer cloaked their fear. The message was clear and simple. A breach is forming in deep space. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it wants. But we know this. It is coming. And we must face it together. Cross space. It was received by allies, by enemies, by watchers who never spoke. And in places beyond the known galaxy, it was felt. Something moved in answer. But it was not afraid. It had waited long enough. The message spread faster than any weapon, across borders and battle lines. It reached alien empires, silent stations, deep core outposts, and fringe colonies. Some ignored it, some mocked it, but others listened. Wise and the ones who listened started preparing. Within days, Eco 7 became more than a station. It became a gathering point. First came the Velar, not with soldiers, but scientists. Then came the Nyari observers, gray-skinned and quiet, known for watching but never speaking. And even they sent an envoy. By the end of the month, 7 different species had sent ships. Not fleets, not threats. Just one ship each, enough to show interest. Enough to listen. Captain Rourke stood on the upper deck, watching new arrivals. Doc. Every ship had its own shape, its own style. But they all moved with care, respect, curiosity. "What changed?" asked Dr. Lennox beside him. Rourke didn't need to think. He realized what we did. She nodded. "That something worse is out there." In the lab, the model of the event kept growing. Subspace readings now showed regular pulses, like breathing, like something alive behind a wall of space. And then one day, it answered. Iris detected it. First, a pattern buried in the subspace noise. Not words, not numbers, but rhythm. A slow, repeating pulse. Too precise to be natural, but simple to be. Random, Lennox stared at the readout. "Is that a signal?" Rourke leaned in. "No, it's a knock." He turned to Iris. "Translate it, I can't," she said. "Why not?" "It's not a language," Iris replied. "It's a countdown." The bridge fell silent. The pattern repeated. Once every 6.4 minutes. A thump in the fabric of space. Like a heartbeat getting closer. The kind that made your chest tighten, even when you didn't know why. A meeting was called. Representatives from every visiting ship gathered on Eco 7. Some spoke through translators. Some through thought speech. Others said little and simply listened. Captain Rourke stood before them, tired but steady. "You all felt it," he said. "Whatever is on the other side, it's trying to cross. And when it does, we won't have time for arguments." Chlorovex, now more thoughtful than proud, stepped forward. "We were wrong about you. We thought humanity was loud and reckless. But now, I see. You weren't loud. You were alert." The Nyari envoy blinked slowly. "We used to believe the galaxy was shaped by force. Now I wonder if it will be saved by preparation." Rourke didn't smile. He didn't feel like it. Words won't be enough. This station is now a joint watch point, a warning system. We will share everything we know, and we ask the same. There was hesitation. A few murmurs, then one by one they agreed. Even the quietest species, the ones that had never allied with anyone, gave a silent nod, and so it began. Within weeks, Eco 7 became something new. A living network. Human engineers worked beside alien techs. Velar, where thinkers debated side by side with Terran scientists. Data flowed. Ideas merged. Fear turned into focus. Because now they weren't preparing to survive, they were preparing to face whatever came through the breach, dashed together, and then the countdown stopped. No pulse. No knock. Just silence. Rourke stood on the bridge of the Caliborn, waiting. "Is it over?" Lennox asked softly. "No," Iris said, voice colder than usual. "It has arrived." Aside, the stars dimmed. Not from shadow, from pressure. As if something massive had stepped into their universe without opening the door. Sensors froze. The breach opened not with light but with emptiness. Hole in the world, darker than space, deeper than gravity, and from it something looked back. Not a ship, not a creature. A presence. Wrong in shape, wrong in motion. But it was aware. It saw them. Every ship at Echo 7 went silent. It's not out of failure but reverence. Rourke whispered, "First contact?" Iris answered, "No, first warning." Then, just as quickly as it came, it vanished. The breach closed. The stars returned. Power flickered back on, but everything had changed. Not because they'd fought, but because they'd stood. Ready and not alone. Days passed, then weeks, but the memory stayed. The galaxy now knew something existed beyond understanding. Something powerful. Something watching. And the only reason it hadn't come through yet was time. But this time, it wouldn't face one frightened species. It would face many. Humanity had sounded the call not with weapons, but with unity. And that was what gave them hope. Not that they were the strongest, but that they were the first. To say we're not running, we're ready together.